I wasn't planning on going live today, but there's a lot of stuff that's been going on this week, and I want to get to some of it. And plus, I really don't have nothing much else to do really. So, for some of y'all that may or may not know, there's a lady by the name of Wendy Osefo. She is a cast member of Real Housewives of Potomac. And just a few hours ago, her and her husband was allegedly arrested for fraud. Um, I think it's wire fraud and insurance fraud. But since we're here, we're gonna go to the a content creator by the name of Simone Redwine. With that being said, let's get it. Shout out to Simone Redwine, by the way. Give me one second. Give me one second. And this is the 1 minute 30 mark. Let's go.
Y'all, Wendy is going to jail. Wendy is going to jail. Just come on in here. We're going to cover this. This is the live press conference. Wendy is going to jail. Mattress was thrown off the bed onto the floor, giving indication that a burglary did occur. Girl. Initial responding deputies again called our investigators because of the high dollar amount that was stolen. After the initial report, the following days we made contact with three separate insurance companies that the USFA is using to insure their property, which is common with this lawsuit. This type of lawsuit, detectives actually communicate with insurance companies.
And this here's to talk about Wendy Osefo.
Press conference. Come on in.
USFA has contacted detectives several times to provide additional information about the alleged burglary, evidence of the item. They also reported the loss of their insurance company.
Yep.
Again, the USFA is alleged.
Like I said, insurance fraud.
1,000 items were stolen from the burglary.
200,000, they said.
Weeks after the alleged burglary,
Initially.
detectives discovered Mrs. Osefo had posted photos on social media wearing jewelry that matched items she reported stolen, specifically a diamond anniversary ring.
Oh, no. Now, hold on.
Detectives were provided receipts by the USFA for the loss of items that they had purchased dating as far back as 2018.
Ciao.
For email addresses, we've become suspicious that this was a false claim. One of those receipts for email addresses, which detectives altered certain procedure forms so they could access email, both the USFA email account, attempted to acquire more evidence. The emails provided additional evidence that indicated this was a fraudulent claim, specifically Edward communicating with Wendy. And I quote, "Are there additional high-value items we can add to this inventory list? I'm trying to get the total to the $423,000, which is our policy maximum."
So they added more stuff.
Detectives worked diligently to verify the information provided and to locate their reported stolen property. It was later confirmed
Because it's not
that
salacious
Mrs. Osefo
enough.
had returned several of those same items valued at over $20,000.
Oh, no.
To the place that she originally purchased prior to the alleged burglary. We can see as far back.
I'm going to break it down at the end. Just keep watching.
Items that have been purchased and receipts supplied to the insurance company.
Got the gavel.
Those items have been returned to the purchaser purchased them from during the window in 2018 of the return policy. Meaning if it was a 90-day return policy back in 2018, she actually returned any items within that 90-day period. Those receipts were supplied to us, and those receipts were supplied to her insurance company and were alleged by the USFA to be stolen in the original burglary. Based on a thorough investigation conducted by detectives in my office in coordination with Carroll County State Attorney's Office, it became clear that the USFA had fabricated the burglary and finally false reported attempted to defraud their insurance company. On October 29th, 2025, the case was presented in Carroll County Grand Jury, which returned indictments against both Edward and Wendy Osefo for multiple counts of fraud and false reporting. Both individuals were located and taken into custody at their Turnberry Court address on the afternoon of October 9th, yesterday, by the Carroll County Sheriff's Office detectives. Deputies executed a search and seizure warrant at the residence during the arrest. An additional 15 items that were believed to be reported stolen by the Osefo during the initial report were also located during that search and seizure warrant. Those items included jewelry and high-end handbags. Osefos were booked into the Carroll County Detention Center and later released on $50,000 bond. $50,000 bond. Real quick, I'd like to acknowledge the work in my office did Detective Richie Harbaugh.
I'm gonna break it down, yeah, I'm gonna break it down.
Richie's one of the finest detectives on the planet. High praise for him. Also, the Carroll County State Attorney's Office, Mr. Shoemaker, Mr. Culver, and Melissa Hodgson, handled the case with the State Attorney's Office and working with us on this case. I'll now turn it over to the State Attorney. He has some comments, and then we'll answer any questions.
Oh, I wanna hear the question. I got a question.
Okay.
Okay, y'all, I'm gonna break it down after we finish this live press conference. These are the sheriff's office that arrested them.
Any inquiries that I've gotten today on this matter, I've indicated to everybody, and I want to emphasize it again, as a personal matter, that all persons are presumed innocent until proven guilty before the law. So I want to get that on front. Yesterday, the defendants were indicted by the grand jury for Carroll County in connection with Wendy Osefo. It was 7 counts of insurance fraud, 8 counts of conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and 1 count of false statement to a police officer. They posted bail.
Dang, I can let this be a live stream by itself.
Also, in addition to what the sheriff alluded to a few moments ago, I'd like to note that the investigation in this matter, and I certainly want to give props to Detective Harbaugh, who worked in close proximity with my deputy State's Attorney Melissa Hodgson in connection with this matter. But the investigation determined that on April 8th, 2024, the Osefos initiated 3 separate insurance claims for the alleged burglary and theft that occurred in their residence. And those were against Travelers Insurance, Jewelers Mutual Insurance, and Homesite Insurance Company for their alleged losses. Mr. Osefo gave reported statements to 2 of the insurance companies regarding a list of stolen items. He was also asked whether any of the items on the list had been returned, which he denied. He was asked if he had other insurance but failed to disclose to Homesite and Jewelers that he was also making a claim with Travelers. For a Homesite Insurance, both Edward and Wendy signed a sworn statement of loss, which was notarized. The total was $2,500 for the damage to the building itself and $450,000 estimated for contents and personal property. He included an inventory of reported stolen items along with receipts for the purchase of most of the items on the inventory. That claim was denied due to the failure to disclose the policy with Travelers. And in the original claim submitted on April 8, 2024 to Travelers, Edward is alleged to have confirmed that he and his wife were wearing their anniversary bands when the loss occurred. However, Edward called Travelers on April 10, 2024, and said he needed to update their claim, stating that his wife's gold diamond anniversary band was missing. So that same day, Travelers settled the claim for $45,480, which included the replacement price of the van. It was $4,500. After the initial reported claim on April 11th, both Wendy and Edward signed and submitted letters to Jewelers Mutual claiming the burglary occurred in items.
Sorry, y'all, I was eating.
At the request of Jewelers Mutual, the Osefo provided an
I'll be back in a second.
of 57 stolen items. Included on the list was Wendy's stolen anniversary band that was reported in the Travelers claim. On April 22nd, Edward was interviewed during a recorded call and did not make any mention of the jewelry claim or payout with Travelers. So, essentially, I know that the burden will be on my office to show that Edward and Wendy conspired to make fraudulent statements and provided misleading information in support of making the 3 insurance claims for financial gain. I'd also note that some folks may view insurance fraud as an innocuous crime since it only affects insurance companies. That's certainly not true. Insurance fraud affects all of us in the form of increased premiums that we all bear, so we take those offenses very seriously. Thanks.
What do you got, anything?
What?
I think a little bit of both, because we responded to it.
Huh?
Customary for a response like that. But when patrol deputies got there and started walking around and looking at the evidence, they immediately called investigators who showed up at the scene.
I'm not
Primarily because
trying
it was a
to.
dollar amount issue, but when deputies got there, they started digging into the house a little bit, and as good cops and detectives like them, were a little suspicious when they got there, but they started working it like a traditional burglary, so they were treating it like it was a real burglary.
Damn, that volume was so low.
A couple of weeks, starting to speak with the insurance companies and the sheriff's station, they became more suspicious that this may be a fraudulent claim or a fabricated incident. But it was really when, a couple of weeks later, they saw some of the, specifically from the ring that the state clerk mentioned, the diamond wedding band that they observed, and especially with the post that when they started realizing that this was likely a fabricated burglary or a false insurance claim. I don't think there's commonalities anywhere, but I think that in answer to your question, I've seen it with the residents. It's extraordinarily difficult to get up to that second story and go through a bathroom, off of the master bedroom to get into the residence. If they knew, if the burglar knew exactly what they were looking for, they would have found another entry point, path of least resistance, and that certainly wasn't the path of least resistance to get in there. There was really nothing that indicated around the window that anybody had come into the residence. We didn't know that the grass had just recently been cut. My detectives actually traveled up the side, walked out on the roof, and walked back into the bathroom, only to track stuff inside into the bathroom, asphalt from the fuse or debris. I'm pretty sure the burglar didn't take a broom and clean up after themselves if they in fact tossed the roof like we staged during burglary. So, a lot of those things just picked up on, but again, we treated it like it was a burglary and followed the evidence until we found out that it was a false claim. I believe that's the case. I believe they tried to file claims with, there are 3 separate insurance companies that they use to insure specific items, and I believe they tried to claim specifically the diamond claim and the was. They did get paid out, the state clerk said, for the diamond claim, and over $20,000. we believe we have that done right then, after we actually do the search report.
I thought I could do something about the audio. Unfortunately, it's not my audio, that's their audio.
Information that we've gotten from the assessors, the recording station. I don't know, I just don't speculate, that they were funding. We do know that they were still building out the residence for the reality there. And that was active, I think they were in. I don't want to, I can only tell you what my perspective
Oh, y'all
is.
live in Bellevue. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Okay. What else we have? Sure, good. Yeah, good part to the circuit court and the attorney's office. We'll do a lot of pre-trial stuff prior to this case actually going to a trial, and that's how we're.
I can tell you right
Police
now
weeping.
that there is a hearing on council where you're applying for your right to an attorney and that sort of thing. It's tentatively scheduled.
I'm back, y'all.
I'm gonna break this down, so.
Wedding. Well, I mean, there are one social media that don't.
Oh, they got pitiful audio. Piss poor audio.
I think because we became suspicious, and I do believe that the insurance company became suspicious as well, their investigators started to scour social media and look at.
I'm actually gonna put this one in its own live stream.
Regular report, and wouldn't have been difficult.
This here, ladies and gentlemen, is Real Housewives. Hold on. Let me see which one. Real Housewives of Potomac. Wendy Osefo and husband going to jail for fraud. Let me put my glasses on so I can see what the hell I'm looking at.
No, I don't think we would have treated it any differently at all. I mean, it was a high dollar amount that they were alleging that was stolen. And so, if there was in fact someone burglarizing residents in that particular area or any area of the county, we would have treated it, that way. You know, crime in this county is very, very low. And so, my detectives, when they get a case like this, will work it very diligently, to find whoever burglarized the residence. But if in fact, we believe that the false report will investigate it the same way. So I don't care if it's real housewife, fake housewife, or whatever she is, we would have handled it the same way regardless of.
Well, they're a little different because is facing 9 counts of insurance fraud. And let me put my glasses on. 9 counts of insurance fraud, 8 counts of conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and 1 count of false statements of nuisance. Yeah, exactly. About that.
Good. Anything else? You got anything texted in? You're good? Okay. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Ooh, y'all.
They reported that their home had been burglarized sometime between
Hold on.
April
Just
2nd
starting from the beginning.
April 7th of 2024.
We want to see this.
While they were on vacation in Jamaica. The house would have been vacant at the time with no one house sitting. No one had a key to the residence according to the assessor. The Osefo claimed that designer handbags and jewelry valued at more than $200,000 were missing from the primary residence bedroom upstairs. Responding patrol deputies handled the burglary according to policy and made contact with investigators with my major crimes unit to assist because of the dollar amount that was stolen. Crime scene investigators came to the scene the night of the report, to process the scene for fingerprints, DNA, and anything of evidentiary value. And while I'm there, I want to thank the state police. They actually responded, and the superintendent of state police, Colonel Butler, I want to thank him for working with us on the case and providing resources. It should be noted that the residence does have interior and exterior surveillance cameras. None of the cameras picked up any motion or indicated a breach inside of the house.
Really?
Also did not pick up any suspicious activity outside of the residence during the time the Osefo.
So y'all gonna claim a robbery, and y'all didn't even try and make it look like a robbery.
Suspicious activity was noted at the Osefo. Patrol deputies and detectives found no signs of forced entry or physical evidence of a burglary, such as footprint, fingerprints, or any entry point.
This is the beginning of it, so, and I needed to hear this part. It wasn't included, so I can break it down.
Into the master bedroom. There's no evidence inside the residence that someone made an attempt to get into the residence through that particular window. No evidence indicated that anyone attempted to enter the house. The bedroom upstairs where the theft occurred was ransacked. The mattress was thrown off of the bed. Indication that a burglary did occur. Initial responding deputies again called our investigators because of the high dollar amount that was stolen. After the initial report, following days, we contacted 3 separate insurance companies that the Osefos use to insure their property, which is common with this lawsuit. This type of law, the detectives actually communicate with insurance companies to share information. In the days following the initial report, the Osefos contacted detectives several times, provide additional information about the alleged burglary, evidence of missing items. They also reported the loss to their insurance companies. Again, the Osefos alleged and claimed that just over $200,000 in items were stolen from the burglary. Weeks after the alleged burglary, detectives discovered Mrs. Osefo had posted photos on social media wearing jewelry that matched items she had reported stolen, specifically a diamond anniversary ring.
Really? So you was stupid enough to wear items that were supposed to be stolen in public. Y'all is a new kind of stupid.
Detectives were provided receipts by the Osefos for the loss of items that they purchased.
Okay, I'm about to wrap this up since it's repeating. Give me a second.
That's a new kind of stupid to wear those alleged stolen jewelry on your person and in public.
Mail addresses, we've become suspicious. And I quote, are there additional high-value items we can add to this inventory list? I'm trying to get the total to exceed $423,000, which is our policy.
Okay, where'd you go? Simone?
Several items that have been purchased in 18 and receipts supplied to the insurance company. Only those items have been returned to the purchaser or to the store that you purchased them from during the window in 2018 of the return policy. Meaning if it was a 90-day return policy back in 2018, you actually returned those items within that 90-day period. Those receipts were supplied to us, and those receipts were supplied to her insurance company. And
Sorry about that, guys. So they did the press conference and now they're repeating it. So now I'm going to break down basically what this means. It says, yeah, there was a press conference. I know someone else has said, uh, it seems unusual to have a press conference, right, over insurance fraud. I would agree. Y'all, I'm on the beach, I'm on vacation. That's why I look like this, what have you. Is I literally stopped what I was doing because I was like, hold up, wait a minute. I started getting messages. You guys started commenting. Definitely comment in the, drop any questions. If you're watching this on the replay, drop any questions that you have in the comments below. I want to make sure that I cover it and I cover this as it continues to have updates. I'll start by saying this. When I heard the accusations, I was like, no, Wendy, not dual degree, multiple degree, Miss PhD, Wendy, who, prides herself on letting everyone know how educated she and her hubby were. Hold on. I don't want to see. Okay, there you go. Sorry, like I said, I was just checking into a hotel that my family was asking me. Somebody said educated fool, so we're gonna start there. So let me overall, for those joining in, you just maybe saw the title that this is a press conference. Hold on, I got my gavel here. Y'all, I just played the press conference, so if you're just joining in, you want to see it from the beginning, you can roll it back, or you can just watch this live and then at the end roll it back. But y'all, Wendy's going to jail. Wendy's going to jail. Wendy's going to jail. Maybe not hell, but definitely jail. Wendy's going to jail. This is like, we about to have some church in here. Wendy's going to jail. There's no way around this. I'm going to let you, and her husband too. So he can say bye-bye to that law license. Shoot, what's his name? My boy Mims, make it make sense. He called me this morning. He was like, because I didn't even know what's going on, y'all. I've been out of the country. I've been trying to get doing my stuff. I do be working. I work from outside of the country. I work virtually, Zoom court, da-da-da. But Mims called me. He was asking me these questions. I said, what's going on? He was like, well, Wendy. I said, well, what about Wendy? Wendy who? I don't even watch the show, y'all. I was shocked to hear that Wendy's husband is wrapped up in this too, and he is a whole entire lawyer. You're right. What is it? Someone said, what happened to innocent until proven guilty? Absolutely. That is the thing. That is how the law is supposed to work. So when I say Wendy's going to jail, Wendy's going to jail, I'm saying, assuming that what these insurance companies are alleging is true, Wendy's going to jail. I mean, and not like Karen Hooger jail, right? Like a year away or a little less than a year. I'm talking like for real. Here's why. So overall, her and her husband have been accused of insurance fraud. For him, it's approximately 9 counts, and for her, it's 7 counts. He's also charged with 1 count of making false statements, basically, to the police. Now, it's usually not a crime in most states to make false statements to the police, but maybe if there's anybody who know better, it would be a lawyer. It would be if someone says, I wonder if this means their contract for Bravo is up. No, baby, what this means is Bravo's going to want all this content, honey, unless and until they say they don't want to be covered. Oh, no, Bravo loves when people go to jail, honey. They will take that camera right up to the courthouse steps if they can. Just like they tried to do, I think with Karen, by the time she was getting sentenced and had trial for hers, I think she had said she wasn't going to return and therefore wasn't under the contract to record, etc. But here, So let me start with just the overall. I want to make sure for those of you who are listening or joining them real quick, here's what they have been charged with. All right, fraud is the answer. So Wendy, let me see this up. There we go. Wendy and her hubby have been charged with fraud. Here's what you need to know. They have been arrested and booked on fraud charges in Maryland. These are state charges. That's going to be relevant. I'm going to get back to that. State charges. I'm making a note. If you're new here, I'm a lawyer, Attorney Simone, your legal bestie. I'm also real ADD. So if you want me to remember and make sure I answer your question, feel free to send a super chat or whatever they call this, where you like give me $1 and then it shows up on the screen. All right. We've got over 700 in the chat. We've got 800 in the chat. We need more likes, okay? Because that gets us suggested to others, and that's how I monetize and make this work. Stopping my work to do this. All right. So it says, in addition, they were booked on fraud charges in Maryland. the, it says the Real Housewives star is facing 16 charges. I think that's the both of them combined, because he got 9, and then she would have gotten whatever 16 minus 9 is. It says the pair was booked on Thursday, yesterday. Dr. Wendy, we're gonna call her Dr. Wendy, because that's what they're gonna call her in the penitentiary. And she's not going to the feds like Martha Stewart. No, Wendy's going to jail. Wendy's going to jail. She's going to go to a state institution, okay? She doesn't get to go garden like Martha did, unless she can try. If I were them, if I knew I'm going to jail, which they are, I would actually try and work to see if we could get these charges transferred into federal charges with state charges dropped. That way you can go to a nice place like where Diddy's going, where they've, you know, they got golf and tennis and such. All right, the reality star and her husband are facing 16 charges, 7 of which are felonies. There has been some misunderstanding. Some of these are administrative charges, meaning it's more civil, but they are actually charged with felonies, multiple felonies, okay, several felonies, and those are related to the false, misleading statements that resulted in the fraud. And it's fraud in excess of 300, that's so low. But apparently in their state, that's what gets you to the felony level. In fact, it's over $400,000, okay, that they are alleged to have made fraudulent insurance claims for. Now it says according to cops, they claimed designer bags and jewelry were missing from their bedroom during a reported burglary while they were on vacation in Jamaica. And that was, this was also before Wendy was allegedly seen wearing one or more of the actual diamond rings that she claims was lost, including, it says, one of the diamond rings that was later seen in a social media post. Now, when I first heard that, I was like, I don't know about that, because when I have diamond rings, I actually create, and I always get a knockoff fake version that I wear when I travel, because I'm not going to bring nothing real, so you can bop me on top of my head when I travel. So part of my question is, I wonder if what they saw her in could have been a dupe or a fake version, especially because she's got to wear something. Like, let's assume this really did happen, right? When you are a person in the public eye like she is, oh God, y'all look at that lace. We'll get to that later. But when you're in a public eye, you have to have your ring on, right? If you don't have your ring on, it raises questions. So my first thought was, could it have been that she has a fake ring that looks just like the real one? Well, the police claim that when they did the search and seizure on their home, that they obtained what they believe to be the real ring. I don't know about that. We'll have to see. You got to test the ring to know it's real. And then secondly, the police also claimed that some of the bags and things that she was claiming were stolen. There is video footage of her actually returning those items. But here's what I want you to peep. Dumbass. That smile on their face. Generally, that's the smile of innocent people, not well-educated crooks and criminals that actually did it. Here's why I say that. Because her husband here is an actual lawyer, it makes me wonder if they feel like this is so dumb, this is so ridiculous. The truth is going to show that this is, for example, a fake ring that they found that I have, because I have not yet bought and replaced the correct ring. I'm not sure, but I would like to believe that these two educated soldiers, these two educated Christians, have more sense than to smile at a mugshot if they actually did it, and ultimately need to be seen remorse. I'm going to move over from People, because obviously they're not a news source. I want to actually read from, I'm going to share on the screen, the press release from the police. I know it's small. I'm going to read it for you. From the cops that actually arrested them. Hold on, we're going to make it bigger. Here it is. It says, Carroll County Sheriff's Office, 2 arrested after fraudulently reporting a burglary and theft. Now, for those of you guys who are asking, it seems excessive to have a whole press conference for insurance fraud. The Sheriff's Office, when they opened the press conference today, they said that the reason they did the conference is because they were getting so many media inquiries. And so for a smaller office like this, Carroll County in Maryland, it behooves them to just do a press conference, so when they get those calls, they can say, watch our video, watch the press conference on our Facebook page or whatever like that. So it reduces the amount of staff that they have to use to answer these media questions. So that may be why they chose to do this, to kind of reduce the amount of work that their everyday staff, which I'm sure they don't have enough to handle all of this, has to then handle. All right, so then it says on April 7th, 2024, last year, the Sheriff's Office deputies responded to a residence in the 1900 block of Turnberry Court for a report of burglary and theft. Upon arrival, they met with the homeowners, who stated they returned from vacation to their home and had been entered home, and to find that their home had been entered and numerous items stolen. They reported approximately 80 items of jewelry, luxury goods, clothing, and shoes were stolen, worth a total of more than $200K. During the investigation, detectives found that over $20,000 worth of the items reported stolen had been returned by the owners to the locations the items were purchased from. Specifically, those are supposed to be bags, Birkins or whatever it is, the bags, and there's allegedly footage of this. Further, it says detectives found images of a homeowner wearing jewelry that had been reported stolen after the burglary took place. Again, we don't know if those are fake dupes. They're just claiming it was jewelry, specifically her wedding ring. Hold on one second. Hold on. One second. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry, family emergency. Then it says, it goes on to say, on October 9th, the investigation was presented to a grand jury yesterday and the homeowners were indicted. Search warrant was issued for the residents and arrest warrants were issued for the homeowners identified as Edward, we can call him Eddie, 41-year-old male lawyer living at that address, and Wendy, a 41-year-old Dr. Wendy, also living there. Both were taken into custody.
Wait a minute, they're only 41? Damn, I'm almost the same age as they are.
They were formally charged. Now today, they posted bond and were released. I think the bond was $50K. Now today, ooh, look at this picture. Oh, why would you be smiling? What you got to smile about, boy? I do want to save this bond out. We're gonna save it. Save it. What's his name? Eddie. Okay, I'll deal with that later. Boy, Eddie think this is funny. And here go Wendy's. Now I'm saying a news briefing will be hosted, and then here go Wendy. And we're just gonna put this up. We're gonna keep that up. There go Wendy. Now here's the thing. It says even if I was innocent, I wouldn't be smiling. I'm with you. Even if I definitely would. I don't think that it's helpful to smile, because if you show you're not taking it seriously, they're gonna come down so much harder on you. It says Ashley and Gizzard are going to have a field day with, aren't they? Somebody said, that's happy, Eddie. Somebody said, Eddie looks high. See how the devil does. Have you high, thinking that you were invincible, and then boom. Did y'all see the official statement from them? Let us know, Kemi. Was it a statement from them? Feel free, you can drop the link in. You mean from them, or because previously the statement that I read was, I just read the statement from the sheriff's office. But they also revealed some facts in this press conference. So let me also add, it says police investigation determined other items they said were stolen and purchased. The prosecutors alleged that the couple claimed a $450,000 personal property loss via insurance. And one of the things that was particularly alarming to the police, and I'm going to get to the section where the police talk about what it was, or the insurance company rather, in conjunction with the police, what was it that made them think like, oh, this could be fraud? Part of it is when you supplement your offenses here, or sorry, the property to a large degree. So I think initially they only had like $200K worth of stuff, and then they came back and basically it was clear that they tried to push the dollar value past the policy limits. So apparently the policy limits were about $450,000 for possessions inside of the home. Also, They made claims with 3 different insurance carriers, and I tell people all the time, this is one thing, if you get nothing else from this, they did the right thing in that you have your homeowners, which you have to have if you have a mortgage. Then you have a contents policy, which is usually that says they're going to cover up to a certain dollar amount of the contents. And you also need to get a jewelry policy because most homeowners will only cover up to like $10,000 worth of jewelry loss. So if you have an engagement ring, if you've got some special jewelry from your granny, that's a separate policy. So they had a policy, according to the cops, from someone called Jewelers Mutual or something like that. Then they had a traveler's insurance policy, and then they had a third policy by somebody called like Home Site. They also claimed like $25,000 worth of damage to the home. It said, let me also, they've been together 14 years, and they talk about how great their marriage is, this, that, and the third. Now, here we are. I'm going to make sure, I want to break down, here it is. When they talk about, what was it that made officers think like, hey, we may have a crime here. Here it is. Let's share this one here. Okay. So according to Us Weekly, it says, the office dispatched law enforcement, blah, blah, blah. We know that after Jamaica. It says a police report mentioned that officers found, quote, a screen with damage laying on top of the roof, but noted that the window itself wasn't even locked. Was not locked. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Especially the upstairs window, you can forget to lock your window. I don't worry about my upstairs windows as much because they're upstairs. And then it says a police report mentioned that officers found, quote, a screen. I said that. It says that it was not locked. Then it says to go in or out of that window, one has to step on the toilet. The toilet lid was down and had no debris on it. Okay, the police stated. Okay, meaning I guess they feel like it was an inside job, perhaps, because there was no indication that someone entered from outside by lifting the window, coming through, and then stepping on the toilet. I don't know. Maybe they wiped off their footprint. I don't know if they watch Forensic Files like me. Then it said when the sheriff's office personnel stepped onto the roof and then back into the home, they tracked roof, quote, grit back inside the house. And it says the Osefos had an ADT system and a ring camera. And it says police determined that the Osefos activated the alarm system before they left on vacation, though there was, quote, no motion detected inside the residence during their trip. So that can indicate, y'all let me know your thoughts in the chat. That can indicate an inside job. Now, if you're joining us now, we've already watched the live press conference. Now we're talking about the allegations, and then we're going to talk about how much time potentially they are facing and why the title of this video is Wendy's Going to Jail. Wendy's Going to Jail. All right, this says there was actually so they last spoke about, this was about no motion was detected in the residence, despite them having 2 alarms on, basically the ADT, and they had a ring alarm. It says there was actually there was activity such as package deliveries on the ring camera that was monitored by the Osefos. Eddie later gave 2 statements as part of an insurance investigation where he denied that any of the missing items had ever been returned to a store. This is key. He was asked if he had other insurance, but failed to disclose to Homesite and to jewelers that he was also making a claim with Travelers Insurance. Let me speak to that as an attorney. That may be because, remember, Eddie's a lawyer too, and I don't know what kind of law Eddie does. Put in the chat if you do. Some people may have misunderstood, even as an attorney, when you are asked that, if, first of all, whoever he made the claim with first, he may have only been answering it with respect to, do I have other insurance for this item? So, for example, if it was the jewelry, all the jewelry is covered under the jeweler's policy, which was with Jewelers Insurance, whatever that company was called. So I may not, if I'm telling them about my personal property inside their home, right, which is covered by Travelers, and Travelers says, do you have any other coverage? Well, my jeweler's policy doesn't cover personal property. So I may say, well, no, I don't, because I don't have anything else that would cover this thing. Also, the third policy covers its damage to the home. So if I'm telling, stay with me here. I want to just make sure, and I'm looking at the comments so you tell me if this kind of makes sense. Um, if what I'm telling, let's say, travelers about is the contents, the personal property that is non-jewelry, and you ask me, do I have any other insurance? uh, the implicit question is that covers these items I'm telling you about. Well, I'm not going to tell you about the insurance company. I won't necessarily tell you about the insurance that covers my jewelry because I'm not making a claim with you about jewelry. And I may not tell you about the insurance that would cover, them doing $2,500 of damage to the home structure because I'm not making a claim with you about that. That's a different policy. You see what I'm saying there? It says it looks like they just came from a Diddy party. Oh, I don't know if you're talking about me or somebody else. And then it says, someone said boys weren't feeling their dad when he said Eddie was expanding into other states. Was the expansion allowed to? I'm not sure. But I just want to make that clear. Because I've made insurance claims before and they've asked, do you have other insurance? And I'd say, not for this. Because, for example, if I lost a piece of jewelry, I'm not making a claim on my auto insurance policy, even though, yes, I have auto, yes, I have health, yes, I have homeowners, because they're not going to cover it, right? Then it goes on to say, it says, according to Us Weekly, um, initially, the claim with travelers reported that Eddie and Wendy were both wearing their anniversary bands when the robbery allegedly occurred. 2 days later, Eddie called the insurance company to ask about updating his claim because Wendy's gold diamond anniversary band was actually missing. Now, hold on, that would make an alert to me because how you don't know your wedding band is missing? If you're on vacation, you either have your wedding band or not. Now, remember, the band is in addition to the diamond. So it's generally you have the diamond ring and then the band that goes up underneath the ring. You either have it or you don't. Like how you. But the reason it may have been left off is if Eddie made the report, Eddie may not have written it down. If she was telling it to him, because remember, Eddie is the lawyer. Eddie is the lawyer. It says travelers then settled the claim the same day for $25,000, including $4,500 for the price of the replacement band. Now hold on 1 second. I got a little. I'm gonna switch to this real quick. I'm gonna put an excerpt. I'm gonna play this real quick from the press conference here, real quick. Hold on.
Based on the thorough investigation conducted by detectives in my office, in coordination with Carroll County State Attorney's Office, it became clear that the assessor had fabricated the burglary and filed a false report and attempted to defraud the insurance company.
That's another press conference. I'm not hearing anything. she might have paused it and didn't even realize it.
Mean he's lying. It means by high value, he's like, we don't care about things like tennis shoes or cheap stuff. Because what happens is the insurance company depreciates whatever you put on there. So the easiest way to get to your insurance cap is if you put higher value items because they're less likely to be depreciated. But also, that's the type of comment a lawyer sends to their client all the time working on an insurance claim, because we want to make sure we haven't missed anything, and we will remind our client, hey, your policy limit is this. Therefore, if you got anything else, you better send it to me, particularly high value. Don't tell me if they drank some of your Boone's Farm. Don't tell me if they drank some of your Syrah. Tell me about the expensive-ish. It says Karen is free and Wendy is on bond. It says claiming to match or exceed coverage is suspicious, so the robbers cleared you out. Now, that would be unusual. But you gotta remember, he's both a lawyer and her husband. So I can see how they may be able to get that statement out. But the bigger issue though, is going to be if your claim starts at 20K and then you're trying to push it up to 423,000. That's really strange. It says when police issued an arrest warrant, they simultaneously conducted a search and seizure at their home. Investigators said they recovered at least 15 items that were allegedly stolen during the burglary. The investigation revealed that the Osefos to be burdened by substantial debt. Now that I believe. Now, their response for their rep said Dr. Wendy and her husband are back home safely with their family and in good spirits. They're grateful for the outpouring of concern and support from friends, families, and colleagues. The Osefos, along with their legal team, look forward to their day in court. At this time, they respectfully ask for privacy. Go back to this is what I care about. The investigation revealed the Osefos to be burdened by substantial debt. I knew that when the girl went and got a new face. I knew that when she showed up with a new face, okay? This one. I knew. That girl sat up there and got a whole new face. It was going to be problems. It was going to be problems. Hold on. It was definitely going to be some problems. Because now it says here, and a new body. Yeah, she did all this. Listen, you were a professor. He was a lawyer. We don't know how let me see, what type of law was it? Edward Osefo, let me see. Lawyer. What kind of law is this? What kind of law does he practice? Oh, here goes LinkedIn. It says attorney. He went to Georgetown, okay, that's great. Oh, then took his picture down. Attorney, he went to Rutgers. I didn't see what kind of law. I can tell you, sometimes I can tell you how broke somebody is or isn't about the type of law they do or don't do. RSMUS is where he worked. Oh, I don't know what they are, okay, but I'm gonna find out. RSMUS is the law firm. SMUS law firm. I'm gonna tell you right now. Edward Osefo. We're gonna find out now. Hit that like. Priorities messed up. Baby, TV will get you every time. It will get you all the time. RSN law firm. I'm not seeing it. Oh, here's an article. Everything to know about him. Everything to know about her husband. Come on, y'all. We gonna be messy together. We gonna be messy. You're not about to leave me out here on my own. Well, I'm trying to confirm is what kind of law he does, because it says that they were laden with substantial debt. It says after she joined the Housewives more than 2 years ago. This article is from 2023. Viewers met her husband. Who cares? Who cares? She's a political commentator. Nobody cares. Get to him. He studied law before marrying her. Okay. Who cares? He beat the allegations from season 6. Okay, I don't even know what those are. He later worked for an accounting firm. Oh, wait, let me see. What does it start with? He's Nigerian who married her. They met as teens. Before Eddie and Wendy started their family, Eddie was studying to become a lawyer. According to his LinkedIn, he received a degree in computer engineering, then an MBA from Rutgers Business School, and a law degree from Rutgers Law. Ooh, then he went on. Oh, he only did 1 year at Georgetown, which is your LLM. That's no offense. That's kind of easy to get into. No. Eddie later worked for an accounting firm, Price Waterhouse, as an intern and later as a full-time lawyer for 6. Okay, that's great. Now he works as an attorney for RSM in Baltimore. I'm not familiar with them, but it may be like a tax attorney. Besides being a father, well, he's not working there no more. We know that. So they thought they had some financial problems before. Shit. Yo, it's about to be bad now. Shoot, it's about to be real bad. Let's talk about Eddie and what he's facing. Number one, this type of crime, which is insurance fraud, is what's called
Mm-hmm.
a crime of moral turpitude. So,
Okay.
under the law, not only do you get your license suspended, but you get disbarred if found
Ooh.
guilty. Yep. Okay. It said that
Okay.
they, hold on. I mean, you get disbarred, meaning you can no longer practice law at all forever and ever. I don't know. Maybe you can be an accountant after this. No, no, you can't be an accountant either. Not if it requires a license. You can't do nothing. Listen to me quick. Listen to me good. You can't do anything that requires like confidence and faith of people in you, because a crime of moral turpitude is something like theft, fraud, and it basically means can't nobody trust you.
Mm.
Can't
Okay.
nobody trust you. Hit that like, y'all. And it
Okay.
says it says they are. It says that's worse than Karen. She's a felon and a thief, a liar and a deceiver. His mom knew something was red flag. Something was red about that flag, and look at them now. Woo. Do I see a possible easy defense for them with the evidence as listed? Number one defense might be, I was going to say certain things could be protected under the husband-wife privilege, but where husbands and wives co-conspire to commit crimes, generally in most states, that privilege doesn't exist. Um, yeah, those attorney fees are definitely about to hit. Honestly, there's no shame in saying I can't afford it. Seriously, especially as a professor. Baby, the way I play that, like if you know my story, you don't Google it. I mean, I'll tell you this. This was my worst fear. This is why I couldn't get married. Why I had to call my wedding off weeks before. It's because this is the shit he was gonna get my ass up into. Living, if you Google my story or not, the Cliff's Notes version is I was very much in love with someone I met on a dating reality show, and just shortly before the wedding, he was like, "Hey, I can't do this. I can't get married." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "This wedding that we have planned. It wasn't even a big wedding. It was a $17,000 wedding, but he said he couldn't afford that." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "We just need to go to the Justice of the Peace." And at first, I was like, "Oh," and then I checked our bank account because someone making sense, because it was time to make the final wedding payment for the wedding, and rather than us having the $10,000 that was going to be needed for that final payment, it was destination, people bought their flights, hotels, all of that. Instead of the $10,000, we had $15.42 in the bank. In the bank. He had taken the money and used it from our wedding fund where I contributed, my parents contributed. He took it because after being on the reality show, he felt pressure to live a life as though we were affluent. And so he used that and bought a $130,000 car, which then had $3,000 a month car payments. He also had another vehicle. He used it to pay the monthly payment on that. It was an Escalade. It was about $2,500 a month. He paid his child support with some. I love that baby. Hey, we could talk about that. But the issue was his addiction to both. It's not just money, but the appearance of money. And I'm like frugal. I was a finance major. My friends will tell you I am their cheapest friend. I go on dates with Groupons. If we go on a date and I like that place, I will sometimes suggest a restaurant just because I see it's a Groupon for it, and I pull that bad boy out, scan that bad boy at the end of the date, because I like living financially free. So no, my ex is not. No, somebody says he's in jail. No, he's not in jail. But I had to break up because my daddy was gonna kill him. I met somebody the other day. I ran into someone on the street, and they were like, "I'm so sorry. I was pulling for you guys. I'm so sad you guys didn't get back together." They were like, "I really liked him for you. You guys could really work it out." I said, "Do you hate me? Do you hate me? Because either you're not familiar with the facts, and that's okay, or you want me to be miserable." I said, "No, ma'am, I can't do that. I can, but I say that to say that is just one example of how once people get this little taste of fame, some people feel the need to create this image that does not exist. And then they get really depressed, they get really sad about it, all of those things. And my thing of it is, who says you have to pretend everything is okay? Part of the whole thing of a reality show is a plot, bitch. A plot. It ebbs and it flows. Maybe a portion of our story would be how I launched my law firm and da-da-da-da, but you launched your business and your business wasn't doing great, and we're trying to save your business. Instead of pretending like everything's okay, here it appears that perhaps Wendy and her husband did not feel comfortable telling their truth. Yes, that day, I still, listen, y'all, I'm still single. If you got a cousin or a brother, what's going on a Groupon date? Now, the first date, we can't use a Groupon. I need to know he can be financially sound and stable. But after that, now I'm still looking. I will whip out a Groupon. It's okay. And the thing of it is I actually was the frugal one in the relationship. And in my situation, we had an initial wedding date of like April, and we had to move it because he didn't have his money together. And I remember him saying, well, what are people going to think if we move the wedding date? I said, well, let them think the truth. We ain't got it. We don't have the money to get married in April. Tell them the truth. I said, we can't do that. Well, I can. I don't have a problem telling people. People know where is the specific. And we're paying it on our own. Praise the Lord. Or the show that we met on didn't offer us a wedding, and I'm so glad that they did, because if they had, I would have never learned that this person was financially irresponsible. But he said, well, what are people going to think? And then he said, well, could you just loan me the money for our wedding? What? What? Can I do what? Can I loan you what for what? You want me to loan you some money to marry me? How much you ask? About $10,000. You want me to loan you while you drive a $3,000 car a month? You want me to loan you $10,000 to marry me, and you are like 47 years old, 45, whatever it was. And I'm thinking, hell no. How you start is how you finish. The angels in heaven told me, hell no. They said, girl, you bet not. That's how my angels talked to me. It was probably my granny. She's dead. And he said, girl, you bet not. Because I'm like, how you start is, if in the course of the year, of all the highfalutin things you've done and posted and this and that, you haven't gotten an opportunity to say 10K, it just means we're not ready. We ain't got it. So, I'm not lying. If I'm lying, define. Yes, loan an adult man money to marry me. You, bitch, what? In what? Ninja, no. Yes, it was a blessing that the show didn't impact my wedding. And just to conclude that chapter, come to find out, his last marriage with the last wife ended for the exact same thing: financial irresponsibility, doing similar things, blah, blah, blah. That's that. I say that to say, I do believe that line that I just read, where the police statement was, quote, the investigation revealed the Osefos to be burdened by substantial debt, the police noted, and that was likely the impetus for this $400,000 payment. Y'all, they got $420,000 extra dollars. Baby, I know that's more than she make on the goddamn show. I know that. I know it was more than they made on the show. What show was I? I was on a show called Ready to Love. It's still on. It's on the OWN network. I was on, Ready to Love, and I was on there in like 2021. My season was called The Last Resort. I was part of the Houston cast. Can we talk about potential sentences? Yes, let's get to them. Let me just make sure I haven't missed anything else from the from the notes that I took from the press release. It was the multiple claims going back. All right, so potential sentences. We got 7 felonies here. Y'all, they are looking at, so for each one, there are a few more charges for him than there are for her. But basically, state jail felony, up to 10 years it's looking like. Eddie's range is about 5 to 15, and for Wendy, it's up to 10. And I'm just talking, so the sentencing range for insurance fraud, let me break it down. Here's how we get there. The sentencing range in Maryland for insurance fraud is 2 to 7 years per count. They have multiple counts here. They have 7 to 9 insurance fraud counts. Now, a judge can choose to stack them, but not usually. They don't usually stack. So it wouldn't be like 2 plus 2 plus 2 for each of the 7. Instead, usually it's just they run concurrent, meaning at the same time. So 2 to 7 years for that. Plus the making false statements is 1 to 5 year range. Both of them appear to be doing that. So the aggregate exposure that they're dealing with is basically about 2 years to potentially 10 years, because the false statement actually. Hold on. Let me redo this. No. I'm going to give you the max, and then I'm going to give you realistic for each one. Insurance fraud, let me clarify. Insurance fraud, whether you're Wendy or you're him, the max sentence in Maryland is 10 years. But the realistic sentence is 2 to 7. And that was the one where they've got, like, each got 7 to 9 charges. And then for false statements, it's up to 10 years for that, but more realistically, 1 to 5 years. And then, so when you aggregate that, so basically they're looking realistically, although they could face up to 10, realistically 2 to 7 years. And that would be 2 to 7 for the insurance fraud, with 1 to 5 for the false statements. Those would run concurrently, meaning whatever the insurance fraud charges, assuming that that's going to be higher, it always would be, than the false statements, then that would be what they would serve. So it looks like Wendy is probably going to be facing at least two years state prison. And yeah, I don't want this for them either. 2 years state prison. Hit that like, y'all, if you're just joining, and hit that subscribe if you've missed us. I'm your legal bestie, attorney Simone. I break down celebrity legal cases. He was a tax lawyer. Yeah. So here's what happens. Even though right now it's just allegations, he's just been indicted, his law firm is going to suspend him, remove him, whatever. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you so much. Yes, it is a lot, girl. His law firm will remove him. He's no longer, if he was a partner, that's it. He's going to lose his partnership. He may or may not get paid for what you paid to pay into the partnership. But he cannot practice law until this gets resolved. It's likely going to take at least a year for this to go to trial, unless they choose to expedite it. Leslie, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate that. May I ask how much there is? I don't know. We don't know that yet, but trust and believe it will be revealed through this investigation. You know what? While we're here, let me try to do a quick little background check on him. Let me see. Let's see. Y'all know how to do background checks. Let's see. Hold on. See if my little. I'm gonna see if I can see any liens in either of their names. Tax liens, any types of liens, give you an idea of their debt. Hold on, we're gonna find out together, y'all. Live and in charge. Live and in charge. My poor family is like, where did you go? Okay. Hold on, we're gonna find this out together. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up. Y'all know I don't play by my background checks now. We need to know. That's why I love paying attention to comments, because, all right, here we go. Now, I don't know what Wendy's real name is, something else. Wendy Snuffleupagus, whatever. Osefo. Oh, okay. Well, we about to find it, because, you know, sometimes Nigerian people, okay, yeah, that's not her real name. Here, let me try Edward. Edward. She got a, I know she got a different, on there. Hold on. Edward, hold on. I don't think I'm spelling the name right. Eddie, maybe I'm not spelling their last name. Because you know they probably, Osefo. You know they probably got like some other, like a real government name. I'm about to find out. Okay, Edward. Let's try it. What is Wendy Osefo real name? Oh, okay, her real name is Wendy Osefo. We're about to find, okay, let's try it. Oh, hold on, there's a few names here. Let me try this, hold on. Wendy. We gonna find you, girl. I wanna know. Okay. You don't know if this is to her, because that says, y'all know she ever lived in North Carolina? I'm gonna try this one. Hold on. We're gonna see. We're just gonna see. Wendy Osefo. We're going to see. I'm gonna see if it looks like it's her. Mm, mm. No, I don't think this is her. We're gonna try it again. Wendy. Let me try. Wendy. Honey. Osefo. Try it. Let's try it. Hold on. Let's answer his. What is Edward Osefo's real name? Oh, it should be on the indictment. It says it's Edward. Osefo. Edward. Just keep trying. Oh. Yeah, something's up, because, yeah, no, I have to do it. No, it's not coming. Because I know they got some tax liens or something. It's something that's going on there. But I'll be back with that later. Let me just see. All right, any other questions? We're going to try and find out. I'm going to get into. It's Wendy. Yeah. Okay, I did check that one. Hold on. I got some different software that I have to use. I can't use it while I'm in Mexico. My good. Somebody said, that's a good picture. I can see her lace front. No, absolutely. If you're born, it says if you're born a citizen, you can't, that's right. They cannot be deported, but if you are a naturalized citizen, then they can take it back, especially for fraud. Does anyone know what type of citizenship that they have? I don't wish deportation on anybody. Does anyone know what type of citizenship they have? See, the indictment will have their real names. That's why I need to see the indictment. Literally on my notes, I said, going back to Africa. They may have to go back to Africa. I'm not saying that they're not citizens, because I don't know enough to know that part yet. But the reason I'm saying they might have to go back to Africa is because they're not going to be able to work over here. She's definitely not going to be able to be nobody's doctor, professor. And he's definitely not going to be able to be nobody's lawyer, accountant. He has an engineering degree. And I mean, you want to take your challenge, go to West Africa. Ghana is a real nice place. I done been. You got to go back to Africa, girl. Now, Africa's nice, so there might not be a bad thing. But a lot of them have, yeah, so if they're a naturalized citizens, especially in here. Oh, it says she was born in Nigeria. She said it in her speech at the Nigerian Day Parade. So if you're born, you can still be born over there and be a U.S. citizen if your parents at the time are both. Oh, somebody said all those degrees down the drain, just like doo-doo, poo-poo, and TT, going right down the drain. Wendy's going to jail. There's no way. Let me tell you. Okay, here's the thing about insurance fraud. The reason why I am confident that this is not, the types of charges she's facing are not the kind that you can simply walk on probation and not have to see the inside of a cell, is because insurance companies like making examples out of people who do this, especially prominent people, celebrity people, people that are well educated and know better, because these crimes make rates go up for everyone. And if they give you a slap on the hand, give you by them, if they give them a slap on the hand, other people are going to think, oh, it's no big deal. So what ends up happening is the prosecutor, you know how like usually there's a victim, let's say it's TV or something, the prosecutor will generally at some point consult the victim to say, hey, here is what we're going to offer them to give them a plea. The prosecutor does that with the insurance company. And generally insurance companies are very big sticklers. They want a public charge. They want something that will be a deterrent to anyone else. Oh yeah, he's not going to be able to get nothing. A barber's license, he gonna have to go back, like I said, he's gonna go back to Africa. And then now all their assets are going to be, it could very likely be frozen up in this foolishness. Now, it's not like civil asset forfeiture where they may have to forfeit their home. They own the home, they have a mortgage on it, but they were paying on the home, prior to these shenanigans. However, courts may freeze some of their accounts to try and trace where the money went, and they will be, if found guilty, right now this is alleged, But if found guilty, they're going to be forced to pay restitution in the amount of something much in excess of what they actually stole. It says, what happened to the kids' trust funds? Well, if they didn't, if the, oh, Jesus, no. Lord, if there is any indication that trust fund was contributed to after they got this allegedly unlawful insurance money, then that trust fund will be in trouble too. That at least some of the funds could be up for seizure. Do I think someone snitched on them? No, I don't think anyone snitched on them. Because what it is the insurance companies had their ears and nose up from the beginning. There are certain types of facts, certain types of claims that just trigger an insurance investigation, even when they're perfect. I had a client, I could not figure out why it was the claim. Their claim was for a car, that their car was stolen, and it immediately went over to the theft unit. So if you make a claim when your policy is new, or if the dollar amount
Oh, my bad, y'all. Hold on.
is a certain level, or even if, like here, you start with a claim that has this dollar amount for the items, and then you increase it, all those things trigger for the claim to then be moved over to basically the theft department. So
Get some light in here.
yes, she talked about the trust funds on the show. Somebody said they snitched on themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think what may have made
Yeah, and that's basically what they did. They snitched on them damn
because
selves.
they returned the items prior to ever making the insurance claim. Not all of them, but some of them. And I think we're talking Birkin bags, purses, even something that was returned to Dior was returned, they said, in January of 2023. This claim wasn't made until April of 24. It says insurance companies have investigators. That's right. They call the stores on your receipts. They watch social media, do background checks, review prior. Absolutely. All of the above, especially, yes. Someone said they're both, oh Lord, they're both naturalized citizens. Oh, shit. Oh, Trump's going to come for them. Trump is going to have them on the next boat smoking back to Africa. Oh. Thank you for the birth name. I do appreciate that. I did look it up. I think it's the software that I have. I'm not in the country, so I have to use a different one. I have to get somebody right from. The robbery probably looked staged. That was the first thing. So the police stated that they looked at the staging, and the police had concerns with, like, how could this have happened? So they said this burglary occurred while they were in Jamaica, but they had an ADT alarm and they had Ring camera. Ring camera, it picked up motion for package deliveries and various other things, but there was zero motion whatsoever that was detected for any type of burglary. It was also, they said that, like, I guess the screen for one of the windows was taken off and thrown on the roof. Well, when the police went up there, first of all, I don't know, how would you even though it was on the roof? I guess the officers found it on the roof, but when they detected that, they then saw the only way would have been in is if you, I guess, gone from the roof into the house, and when they looked in, going through that window, you would have had to step on the toilet and track dirt in from being on the roof or whatever else. And they said there was no footprints on the toilet, there was no dirt, there was no indication of, and even the window, like, the window was not locked, but there was no clear indication as to how that went. It says they left the cameras on for the real robbers. It says they should self-deport and fight the charges overseas. Well, see, I don't know what. See, she got to stay here and she got to film that show. That's what she gonna have to do, because that's the only source of income that they're about to have. Because he's getting fired. And I don't know if you want to take a lawyer. I don't know. Y'all want to hire a lawyer who's oh shoot. You can't even hire him, I was going to say, who's under indictment, because the bar is likely to suspend him while he's under indictment. Because think of it this way. As attorneys, we have trust accounts, and, you have to trust us with various types of money. And if it is believed that you will fraudulently make a claim, an insurance claim, then they take away your law license because you can't trust you with your client's money. Citizenship can be revoked if they lied on the citizenship application. So that's not the issue. It's that they're neutralized citizens. I have not looked into it, but someone in the chat said that neutralized citizens, I am seeing under Trump, he is now trying to revoke. Let me see. Hold on, let me search for myself. Can naturalized citizenship be revoked after found guilty of felonies. That's true. It says no, it cannot be revoked for a crime committed after naturalization. Okay, Trump is trying to change that, but this is saying basically naturalization, or at least here, according to, and the ChatGPT didn't always get it right, but it is, yeah, here that is what, there we go. Ooh, child. They done been through a lot. They done put us through a lot, y'all. What do you think? What do y'all think based on what you have learned about the offense so far? And again, if you're here, if you want to watch the live press conference, just roll to the beginning of the video. It's there. So here's kind of the summary of where we're at. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you want to send me a little super sticker, I appreciate it because I'm poor. I'm poor in the same way that Wendy is poor. Wendy didn't want to acknowledge being poor, and instead, allegedly, they have committed this insurance fraud. Can you imagine? Think about what would you do with an extra $420,000 for the year? That is certainly a great way to create the appearances that were created on the show. Yes, someone said they can't be deported for real. No, naturalized you cannot, which is how it should be, because naturalized is you're supposed to get all the rights as though you were born here with naturalized citizenship. It says debt will make you crazy. We've seen it time and time again, right? What was it? Apollo went to jail for committing fraud, which he claims he was pressured to do. He felt pressured to keep up appearances because of them being on the same darn show. I think Peter been committing fraud and crimes, but Peter went to jail keeping up appearances after being on the Real Housewives. The white boy, there's a few of them, shoot. The Real Housewives, the Italian people. But now the husband went for mortgage fraud, but the wife went actually for bankruptcy fraud because she lied on the bankruptcy documents and didn't disclose all her money. But it's all keeping up appearances. Yes. Wait, when was Eddie a drug dealer? Anyone know a drug dealer? He was a drug dealing lawyer. He was a drug dealer before he was a lawyer. And then Giudice, thank you, the Giudices. And then you got Erica, whatever her name with the G, from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Her husband, I don't think he's going to jail because they said he don't have his senses. They always say that about wealthy, old Caucasian men. But that man stole millions from his clients. And therefore, same thing, keeping up them doggone appearances. And Joe wasn't a citizen either, that's right, and Joe got deported. So let me know in the comments, if you had an extra $423,000, y'all, is what they allegedly, is what the fraud is for. 420, that's a lot of money. You'll be all right. You can be all right. Oh, wonderful. Someone said they're happy that Eddie is his company. That's always, I figured he probably was. And it's accounting and it's law. So I don't know if he has an accounting license of some sort. If they don't suspend it, he can do that instead of practicing law. But my experience with your law license is the minute an indictment like this comes down, they suspend your license until it gets cleared up. Because under the law, we view indictments as basically strong indication that there's been some evidence of you doing something you didn't have no business. It says, oh, he does have the cannabis company. That's right. So maybe that's how they can. But perhaps their debt is related to his businesses too. That can happen. That can happen all the time. And I also say, as a correspondent, Wendy was a correspondent, not legal, but for various topics. That doesn't pay a lot. I don't know if she has an agent, but that doesn't pay a lot. Good. Eddie has a brand, so Eddie could be bringing in some funds outside of practicing law while they are battling this. As far as a defense, I think the biggest defense so what we went through, what we also went over y'all earlier in the video, is what they are facing. Is it realistically 2 to 7 years? It could be up to 10 years. They've got 7 to 9 felony counts plus a making false claims count. Realistically, 2 to 7 years prison time. You do not get probation if found guilty on all of these counts. Now, if it was one count, if they got, for some reason, you can always negotiate a deal. and got it down to something like one insurance fraud cap, okay, maybe then you could face a probation sentence, but I don't see it because of how educated these people are. So the insurance company is going to feel like they knew better, as well as how high profile
Yeah,
they would want an
personally, I
example
believe these
made
people
out
knew
of them.
better.
It is 9 different insurance fraud counts because a large part of this is that they had multiple insurance policies. They had 3, and you were supposed to tell your insurance carrier if you have other insurance. And apparently they made claims and listed the same items on multiple policies, which it's unclear whether they actually got paid twice on any items or if the allegation is just they tried to get paid more than once on an item and did not. It says, does Wendy still have her cannabis? I don't know. Yeah, examples will be made. And it doesn't help, is Peter Thomas says, I don't know. It doesn't help that she created this era, but I'm more educated than you all. That I was, listen, I never understand people who do that when you ain't got no money. Who cares if you got 17 degrees that you have not paid off yet from the U.S. government, by the way? If you got 17 degrees, but you're making less than someone with none, zip it. You are never going to see me run around talking about my degrees. I might talk about a deal I've done, but I grew up 3, 4, 5 generations of educators, 4 generations. And one thing I know is that degrees do not equal wealth, especially if you're black. Often degree was a sign of status in our community, especially back in the day in the 1900s and stuff, because segregation, this is my final, with segregation, teachers would, you live in the community, and so a family, if you were the teacher, a family would want to host you up so that their kids could get extra lessons. So the teacher was literally on par with like a judge and stuff like that in rural black communities, even all the communities back in the day. So teachers were very prestigious. So that's why it was great to get a degree. But you're running around telling all these people about your education, and you got more debt than gosh darn, shoot, O.J. Simpson. He's living up under that debt, y'all. It's useless. So in the end, what the police revealed is that they found that the motive was allegedly because they have a substantial amount of debt. So the implication is that they did all of this in order to be able to keep up appearances and look like they had some money for the show, rather than just coming up on there and being like, ooh, you know, I left academia, so, you know, it's tight here, y'all. Or, like, there's nothing wrong. You can make it fun. You can make it funny. Where are the children? I don't know, but they got in and out. They put up their bond, which was $50K each, made their bond, and they're on out, and they're home, and they're going to fight their case. And last but not least, the only defense that I can see so far with the facts presented is if they say, you know, no, those returns were not the items, the video footage of me allegedly returning things were not the items that were claimed. They were similar items. I buy a lot from Gucci or whatever, but they're not the identical items. And or that, oh yeah, if you saw me with a ring, my wedding, with a wedding band on, I had a duplicate made that is not real, that was $25, and you need to be able to have the receipts and provide all of that to show that it was not, in fact, a hoax, and that these items actually were taken, and that you did not later, you know, you weren't later seen with them, etc. That is the only defense that I can think of at this. Oh, and then I would, in addition, I would add, sorry, I'm in Mexico, I'm in the business center. I would also add that, oh, well, Your Honor, we did not lie about the other insurance coverage. When they asked me, do you have other insurance? Because that's one of the claims, is that they were asked if they had other insurance, and they did not disclose the other insurance to the other companies. I would say, when they were asking me about, you know, if I'm talking about my jewelry, I don't have any other insurance that covers my jewelry. It's just you. If it's my clothes and my contents of my home, you are the only policy that covers the clothes and contents, and it's the exterior, and
Okay,
and
we're
damage to the
almost
exterior of
done,
my
y'all.
home, that is this other policy, and it was
We're
only
almost
this.
done.
So when you ask me if I have other policies, I think you mean other policies that could cover these items here that I'm claiming, not in life. Because if that were the case, I'd tell you, yeah, I got health insurance, I got life insurance, I got disability, short-term disability, long-term disability. That would be my allegation. It says, oh, thank you so much for the super chat to see what you want about regular Robin, but I'll always respect her for keeping it real. See, I never watched the show, but that's good if she did. Serial numbers. Ooh, the life of Samad. Thank you, boo. Let me put that on the screen. That's so true. Serial numbers gonna get them. Yes, because if your ring is GIA certified, there is supposed to be a serial number on that jewelry. That's what I want to know. Because the sheriff's office today said that when they executed a search warrant at their house the other day, they believe they found the same ring that was listed on their insurance claim, the engagement ring, Wendy's
Mm-hmm.
or wedding ring, Wendy's wedding band or what have you. That was 22,000 that they paid her off for. They think it was listed. So now, if there is that serial number and that match, I need the sheriff. I need you to come on back and let us know. Here's a little update. We want to know. Tell us about the doggone serial number. Thank you as well, Leslie, for the super chat. And thank you, Sammy, for the super chat. Okay, on that, put your questions below. Hit that like as you go out and hit that subscribe. I'm your legal bestie, attorney Simone. And this girl is that legal. Let me know what other topics you want me to cover this week. Bye.
Okay, with that being said, see y'all later. Okay, that's an update to this. You know what? I want to do that in a separate live stream. Um, Give me a half hour, and I'll be right back. With that being said, like, share, subscribe. See y'all in a half hour. Peace.